We're talking with Steve Hofstetter, who is a comedian born in Queens, started comedy in 2002. Is that correct?
That is correct. Stand up anyway.
We're right. I'm sure you were telling jokes to all your schoolmates well before that.
Well, now I was doing improv.
Really?
Yeah, I started improv when I was 13 years old, and I regret all of it. So.
So you're getting a bit of an honor here, potentially anyway. You have been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Not something people might expect from watching your videos. Why were you nominated?
Well, I mean, partially to show that it's not an honor to be nominated, because, like Trump was bragging about, like, oh, I got Nobel Peace Prize nominations. It's like, yeah, well, now so do I. So anyone who teaches, professors of there are certain disciplines where any professor in the entire world can nominate someone for the Nobel Peace Prize. And so that's what one of them did. A professor at Florida State University nominated me for the work I've been doing with the comedy industry during the pandemic, and I do very much appreciate the nomination, but it's also partly a middle finger to the process and just kind of making fun of the whole thing.
Gotcha. So you do some philanthropy work within comedy, though, correct? Like it's partially for a joke, but you do also do some great work as well, right?
Yes, there is an actual reason I was nominated. Right. I just, as a comic, you always have to find the humor of it. So I created the Martin Foundation in memory of my father. And, what we were doing before the pandemic was every year we would give a sizable grant to a comedian to try to help them quit their day job. The idea being, the sooner they can focus on their art, the better. When the pandemic hit, we realized that wasn't enough. And so we not only ramped up our fundraising, but we also changed it so that they would be separate individual $1,000 grants, basically stimulus in a way, to various comedians. We've already been able to give out 30 of them. In addition, we created a number of ways for people to perform and get paid for it. And we have been able to replace over $500,000 worth of work for out-of-work comedians during the pandemic.
Wow, that is a lot.
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting. We've been the single biggest employer of live stand-up in the world during the pandemic, which is weird considering the programs we were doing. So it's Nowhere Comedy, which is the venue. We created a digital venue that didn't exist until April 6th. And so it's kind of crazy that we've been able to do what we've done in the last 8 months.
And you mentioned the grant was named after your father, Martin. When did you lose your father, and how was your relationship with him?
So he passed about 6 years ago, and my relationship with him, I think, mirrors the relationship a lot of people have with their father, which is we didn't always have a close one. And I really started getting close with him when I started getting older. It wasn't until I was 15 that I started really seeing him for the person he was, partially because that's when I was old enough to start becoming the person that I am. And so we grew closer through that, and just, by the end, he was one of the most important people in my life.
Yeah, it seems to be the case with a lot of people. They don't realize what they have until it's almost too late in some cases.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have, about 20 years of a really great relationship with him. And some of the stuff, some of the stuff he did when I was a kid really became formative for me, including playing comedy albums. Growing up listening to George Carlin and Dick Gregory really influenced my taste.
I can definitely see that in your stand-up, especially the videos you post on your YouTube channel, which I did a little research, has been active since 2006, just shy of 650,000 subscribers, and your most popular video, which is, again, one that I thoroughly enjoy, Mother Heckler Freaks Out During a Comedy Special, near 7 million views. What has it been like to watch that channel grow over the last 14 years at this point?
It's a little crazy. The thing that I always try to point out to people, and I've shared the graph before, the idea of it being like such a flat line for 9 years, just like a little bit at a time, And then all of a sudden, 9 years in, one of the videos went very viral. And I was doing okay before then. I had 95,000 subscribers, which I was really, really proud of, and I thought was enormous. And then that week, I got 40,000 more. And so having it blow up like it did really changed my life, and it allowed me to be a lot more in control of where I perform. The most powerful word in any business is the word no. And being able to turn down work. And it's a position that I am thankfully in now, but it's a position I would not have gotten in without the success on YouTube and also now Facebook.
The YouTube channel probably also helped you get your first TV appearance, if I'm not mistaken, Quite Frankly, with Stephen A. Smith.
Well, that actually predated that.
Oh, really?
But it did help me get my first TV show, which was Laughs, which aired on Fox networks. Just because having a platform tends to get people's attention. The thing that helped me get the Quite Frankly appearance was being a bit of a jerk in Sports Illustrated. I used to be a columnist for Sports Illustrated. I was very outspoken. I attacked Barry Bonds for taking steroids before the Balco scandal. The Balco scandal came out 2 weeks after that column. And I got so much blowback from people, and then 2 weeks later, I was like, I'm sorry, what now? Come on, it was obvious. It was obvious. Like, your head isn't supposed to grow.
What I really, you could see a lot of that in your performance, I guess you could say, on Quite Frankly, because, you were pretty ballsy. You went ahead and made a bet on the struggling Mets to beat the Yankees, and I got to ask, did you end up having to wear a Yankee hat at the Boston Comedy Festival?
So it was actually, okay, so a little bit more background on that bet. The Mets were good that year. The Yankees were still better at the time, but the Mets were good that year. And I believe the Yankees took 2 out of 3 in that series. So the Mets did lose. I did lose the bet. And so I wore a Yankees hat during the Boston Comedy Festival. But I cheated a little bit, and what I did is I got a Yankees hat that was like the NY Fire Department Yankees hat.
Oh, okay.
And it was, a couple years after 9/11, so no one could boo me.
Right.
I made Boston have to cheer for the Yankees, which was even more ridiculous.
So you didn't welch on the bet, but you also didn't do it quite the way it was expected.
No, I had fun with it. But at the same time, Stephen A. would never have actually done that bet. My favorite part of that clip is when he realized what I was challenging him to and his voice cracked. That was a good time.
Oh, Stephen A. Smith is such an intense guy. What was that experience like, just getting yelled at for, what was it, like 5 minutes?
It was weird. It was really weird. Couple behind the scenes thing. He has a laughter and an applause sign in his studio that he only turns on for himself, which I guess you could have guessed.
Really Bill O'Reilly-esque.
I opened up with a joke that crushed, and then somehow my microphone wasn't working. We had to restart. I don't know why, and I couldn't do the joke again. That was frustrating. So yeah, it was a simple thing. We were talking about the Mets and the Yankees, and I said, because I was living in LA at the time. And I said, it's better than the rivalry out here, which is between Dodger fans who leave in the 6th inning and Dodger fans who leave in the 7th. And it got a big laugh, and then we couldn't use it, which was annoying. I've had my run-ins with Stephen A. I also was on CNN with him a couple years later, and he was a jerk then also.
Is it a jerk all the time, or is that just kind of a persona on TV?
No. He was a jerk when we were waiting for the elevator.
Oh, gotcha.
Like he was, yeah.
Oh, so back to your comedy, your stand-up. There has to be a moment in time on stage that just sticks with you, whether it was earlier in your career or even right before the pandemic started, that you'll never forget as one of your favorite moments on stage.
Oh, I think my favorite moment on stage still had to be when I did the Late Late Show. So that was my network debut, and it was getting to do stand up on television. It was so incredible. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize, and no one tells you, is that's the easiest show you'll ever do, because that audience is desperately rooting for you. You don't get that arms folded, impress me energy. It's people rooting for you. It was, I can't say fully what he said because it's, terrestrial radio. But when I met Ferguson, he leaned in and he saw I was nervous in the hallway, and he leans in and he doesn't say hello, thank you for being here, good luck. Doesn't say any of that. He leans in and he just goes, now don't F up. And it was so fun. It made me laugh so hard. And I was like, that's a comic right there. He knew what to do. He saw I was nervous. He made me laugh. And then I was good to go. It was so much fun.
You had mentioned that crossed-armed impress me thing. That reminds me of an interview I saw with Seinfeld where he said he hates being introduced as the greatest comedian of all time, because they say that and then you're like, oh, really? So...
Well, that's his fault for being that.
True.
He should have been a worse comedian. No, the idea of if you hype someone up too much, the expectations grow. Like whenever anybody says, hey, what are your credits? How do you want me to introduce you? I just tell them, say my name. If that's not enough, that's my fault.
Right. I mean, that's perfect. That's all you need. If your name precedes you, you're nailing it.
Well, not even that. It's just that, if I can't make them laugh regardless of what you say, then it's my fault.
That too. All right. So, Steve, what do you have coming up in the near future with Nowhere Comedy?
Well, I plan on winning the Nobel Peace Prize. That'll be cool. And then after that, no, I'm not even going to be a finalist. But if I am, the system's broken. It'll be an honor, but the system would be broken. I perform at Nowhere at least once a week. If people want to check that out, they can go to nowheretime.com and pick up tickets. It's a really fun experience. It's more interactive than a typical show. You get to really feel like you're there with the performer. I'm also working on my next book. So I am only a couple chapters away from being done with the first draft of that. That's really exciting for me. And I live stream for free 4 times a week, and just more content ever forward.
Fantastic. One final question: who's winning the Super Bowl this year?
Oh, well, not the Patriots. We know that for sure.
Finally.
I mean, it's hard to. The Steelers look so good right now, which does not make me thrilled because I do not like Ben Roethlisberger. But it's really hard to look at what they've done so far this season and think that anyone is a much better team than they are. So I don't have a prediction yet, but
you could.
It's tough. I don't want to say them. I don't want that to happen. I'll just say the Rams.
Oh, fair enough. You could gain some Wisconsin fans by giving us a go pack.
Packers.
Go.
It's the Packers. It's gonna be the Packers. You know who's not gonna win? The Bears. That's who's not gonna win.
Oh God, they are terrible. All right, Steve Hofstetter, thank you very much for taking 15 minutes out of your day to talk to us.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You bet. You have a great day.
You too.
Bye.